Hi friends, today we're going to talk about these two new quads from Yves Saint Laurent, the Couture Mini Clutch eyeshadow palettes. And I've purchased all four of these new quads, but two of them haven't arrived yet. There is a delay with the package. I don't know exactly what happened, but I have to be patient for a few more days. So my initial plan was to show you all four new quads in one video, but because of the delay I decided to now show you the two quads that I already have, number 700 and 800, and I will record a separate video about number 710 and 810 once they have arrived and once I have tested them. So if you're new here to this channel, hello, my name is Danielle and I am Fedora Beauty. I like to talk about anything makeup and beauty related, mostly high-end and luxury brands. And feel free to subscribe so you won't miss out on any of my content. If you're not new here, welcome back. Let's get started. First, I'd like to say a few words about the packaging of these new quads, because I know that some of you experienced some issues with the inserts from the original quads, the quads that were released last year. I had those issues too. The shade insert was loose or became loose over time. And I have a total of 6 of the 8 palettes from that first series. And in one of these palettes, the insert was indeed loose and not glued properly. I glued it back in myself. So if you experience the same problem with the insert, take some super glue and glue it back in and you're good to go. The packaging of these new ones looks and feels very sturdy to me. I think the inserts are properly glued, so I really hope YSL has solved this problem. So now let's continue with the two palettes. I have tested both of them several times using different techniques, different brushes, so I'm ready to share my thoughts with you. And first I like to talk about palette number 700. This is Over Noir and this is a classic smoky eye color story. The palette contains a soft neutral rosy matte shade, a black matte, a gray satin and a sparkly silver topper shade. The formula is pretty equal to the formula of the previous palettes. I love the pigmentation. You can easily build up the color to your desired intensity, and I think the matte formula is maybe a tad drier compared to the mattes in the other palettes, but I didn't really notice a big difference while using them. So don't get me wrong, they might be slightly drier, a little bit more powdery, but the mattes are still excellent, really excellent, very soft and smooth. They work beautifully. I had no issues at all with blending or applying, no patchiness at all. This is a very, very good formula. The topper shade in this palette seems to be less hard pressed compared to the topper shades in the previous collection. The powder is very, very finely milled. It's very smooth, very soft, but I experienced some fallout with this shadow. And not only while applying, but also during the day, I saw these tiny specks in my under eye area. So I thought, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I used too much product. I wasn't too sure, but I decided to use a glitter glue as base for that topper shade. And that worked perfectly. I always use a regular eyeshadow primer, like the one from Urban Decay, the how's it called? Primer Potion, something like that. But I felt like the topper shade needed something more, something a little bit stronger. And a glitter glue was just the perfect base for this shade. I didn't experience any fallout when I used that glitter glue. So if you're open to my advice, I suggest you use this topper shade in combination with a glitter glue for the best results. And this does not only apply to quad number 700, same goes for quad number 800. I had the same experience, the same fallout experience with this sparkly topper shade. But when I used it on top of the glitter glue, it lasted all day long without any fallout. So talking about quad number 800 Over Doré, this, I thought at first glance that this would be a warm toned color story, but it's not. The shades have neutral undertones. You can see that the two brown mattes do not lean warm, they do not lean cool, they are quite neutral. And also the gold shade is pretty neutral in tone. It has this kind of sandy brown, beachy brown undertone, if that makes sense. It's definitely not as yellow as most of the gold shades I have in my collection. It's way more neutral in tone. And also the gold shade is presented as a satin, but it looks more like a metallic. It's kind of in between a satin and a metallic. It has way more shine than a regular satin shade, but it's still as soft as a satin shade. So I'm not sure how to describe the formula of this shade exactly, but it's somewhere between a metallic and a satin. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade and very easy to use. It looks beautiful, it really pops. And as for the topper shade, I am not gonna repeat myself. I have already told you everything about it. So let's move on to the comparisons. So first the Over Noir quad, and I can be very brief about it. There is no comparable palette in the YSL Couture Mini Clutch collection. All the other palettes are very, very different. Of course, you can find these shades for your smoky look in a lot of palettes from other brands. So I'm pretty sure you are able to dupe the vibe with palettes from other brands, with palettes you already own. What makes this quad different from other quads from other brands is the formula. I think YSL has one of the best eyeshadow formulas, especially the mattes are very soft and smooth. The sparkly toppers, they are very pretty. Like I said, these have a little bit more of fallout, but if that isn't an issue for you, you will absolutely love the Over Noir quad if you are looking for a new smoky eye quad. And the other palette, number 800 Over Doré, I can be very brief about that one as well, because it's way more neutral in tone compared to the Casbah Spices eyeshadow palette. That one is much warmer in tone, as you can see. This color story is also not really unique. It is unique in the YSL Couture Mini Clutch collection, but probably not in your personal eyeshadow collection. If you love that golden look, that neutral gold look, this is probably a perfect palette for you. And I actually think that those of you with cool undertones can make these shades work. So both of these color stories maybe aren't that exciting, or maybe aren't that special or unique, but keep in mind that the YSL eyeshadow formula is really very, very good, and in a positive way significantly differs from other high-end eyeshadow brands. My final thoughts about these palettes. Quad number 800 Over Doré is very suitable for everyday wear, work or the office, and number 700 is perfect for your smoky eye or a nighttime look, but I was also able to create a more wearable look with this palette. I have one little complaint about palette number 800 Over Doré. There are two brown mattes in this palette, and I just wish that one of them, well, the darkest one of them, was a little bit deeper in tone. Because now when I apply those two browns on the eyes, the shades are very close to each other. They are definitely not similar. You can see that one of them is a little bit lighter, the other one is a little bit darker. But I just wish that that darker shade was slightly deeper. So I like a more dark or a deep brown to create a little bit more dimension. And I can't really do that with the darkest brown in this palette. It's just not dark enough to create the depth or the dimension that I am looking for. Doesn't mean that you won't like these two browns either for this reason. Like I said, it's a personal preference thing. Well, friends, I hope this review was helpful. Please stay tuned for the review about quads number 710 and 810. As soon as they arrive, I start creating looks and try them out. Also, keep an eye on my Instagram page because I will post swatches there. For now, thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you next time. Bye.